Welcome to the Holistic Health Show, where the worlds of science and spirituality converge to illuminate a path towards total well being. Join us as we embark on a journey to bridge the gap between Western medicine and complementary therapies. Hello, welcome back to the Holistic Health Show. And as always, thank you so much for joining me again this week. Today on the show, we have Moni Castaneda. She is joining us from the States. She's in Tennessee. She is a Feng Shui consultant, an author, and a speaker. And today, the topic is how you can use your home as a source of power. Moni, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. I've heard about Feng Shui. I know little bits and pieces, and it's always something I've been really interested in, but it's not something that I necessarily have applied throughout my entire home. I've tried little bits here and there. I'm excited to learn more today, and I can't wait to, just hear what you have to share with us. So if you would you mind starting with why or how you got into doing this?
Yeah. So Feng Shui is an ancient East Asian art of placement, which basically is what to put where, in what color, shapes, and materials so that you can be happy, healthy, and successful. And the way I got into it was a kind of like destiny. I was born and I grew up in Ecuador and I studied architecture there. And when I came to the United States, I found out at my first job interview that I would not be able to practice architecture because there's no agreements between the two countries. And so I was telling this to a friend, and she told me, "Well, why don't you look into feng shui?" I started looking into it, and I fell in love with it. And in the beginning, it was just I had such fascination with feng shui, and then eventually I got my first client. I was so interested in feng shui, but I don't know how much you have looked into feng shui. But there's different schools of feng shui. There's basically two branches of feng shui. So I was looking at the different things and the different schools, and the advice that was so different from one author to the next, and it was contradictory. Like one book would tell you to do one thing, and another book would tell you to do the exact opposite thing. And because of my training in architecture, I could see that some things were just not applicable. And I could visualize if you did certain things the way you were being told to do them, they wouldn't look good. And it was being an architect, to me, it was really important that it looked good. I mean, I had a group of friends that were all healers, and some of them had tried to apply feng shui by themselves. When I went to their homes, it didn't look good. And I was thinking something has been lost in translation. Because when you look at the beautiful Chinese, Korean, or Japanese buildings that were done applying feng shui principles, they're absolutely gorgeous. And so I thought, well, something's getting lost in translation, or something's getting lost in transporting it from one culture to another. So I ended up developing my own system of feng shui, which is called the Nine Steps to Feng Shui system, because there was so much confusion. I thought I had to go back to the source. And then I learned that feng shui is actually a branch of ancient Chinese medicine. It's just like acupuncture or qigong. And so I mentored under an acupuncturist that is connected to a very ancient, reliable school. And I started looking at all the principles and how they would apply to the home in the same way they apply to the body. And so
Wow.
the way I practice feng shui is as a part of ancient Chinese medicine.
When I typically hear of Feng Shui, I hear about making the house more peaceful or bringing money into your life or health. I'd love for you to kind of dive into a little bit of the aspects of feng shui, where they're beneficial and what it might look like. Is it that every corner or every piece of your house has to be meticulously laid out, or can you be a bit relaxed with it, I suppose? So there's a lot in there, but I'd love to get the big picture.
Sure. First, let me talk about what I don't do. There's a school of feng shui that is called compass school feng shui that is all about the compass directions. And if you hire a person of that school, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to ask you for your birth date. And then they're going to check what direction the front door of your home is facing. And all their advice is based on that. And that's not what I do because that's what produces some of the most bizarre results. So, for example, consultants of that school will choose the color of your front door based on the direction it faces. whether you like it or not, right? And also, as you know, living in Australia, the south direction in Australia is very different from the south direction in Canada. Because in the case of Canada, the south is the warm side of the house. So when you live in Canada or the United States, the sun it rises in the southeast and sets in the southwest. And when you are in Australia, is the northeast to the northwest. So your south wall is going to be the cold wall. So that's not what I do. So what I do is I use the same principles of acupuncture. And so the first thing we do is we want to make sure you have a sense of wholeness. And for that, we analyze the shape of your home and make sure that it's a complete shape, that is not irregular. And a lot of homes are irregular. After a certain size of a home, you have to have an irregular shape so you get sunshine and natural light. But we have to create the impression from the inside that it's a complete floor plan, that nothing is missing, so that you can have an idea in your life that nothing is missing in your life, that right here, right now, you have been given everything that you need in order to be happy, healthy, and successful. Then we look at what is called in Chinese medicine excesses or deficiencies. So excess is something that is too much of, and then deficiency is something that there's too little of. And so, for example, if you have a basement or a half basement, you're going to have a deficiency of light. If you have a living room or a great room where double height ceiling, that's an excess of height. And so we look to balance those things. Then we also look at, we have this concept in Feng Shui that is the life force. And the life force energy is an actual energy that comes into your home. So we make sure that when it comes in, it visits all the areas of your home, that it doesn't rush too fast in any areas, that it doesn't get stagnant, and that it doesn't become turbulent, that is harmonious. And so that's the first 3 steps, and the system has 9 steps. So not everything in your home has to be perfect. Not every item in your home has huge feng shui significance. There's an ancient Chinese saying that goes like this: all the things in your home are telling you something, are talking to you, make sure they have nice things to say. And while that is true, that everything in your home is giving you a message, not every message is significant. I joke that there should be a term called Feng Shui OCD because I have seen people that just get obsessed with trying to make everything perfect. And I have seen people that whenever they have a problem in life, they're like, oh, what did I do wrong in my home? So even with good Feng Shui, which is known for creating better luck, even with great Feng Shui, you are not going to have perfection in your life. You're always going to have problems, right? And so the idea is that if you have good Feng Shui in your home, you're able to think clearly and you're able to tackle problems as they come. And also that you do have less problems after a while. This is actually a really interesting concept in Chinese medicine, that luck is not chance. Luck is what happens to you and around you based on the condition, strength, and health of your aura, your energy field. And so when your environment, when your home has really good energy, it is easier for you to keep your aura strong. And so the aim of Feng Shui is to make you luckier, basically.
So there's obviously a lot to it that I was unaware of. I've always heard about the compass, the directions. You should have this
Yeah.
facing this way. And we have a little, I think it's a little cat, the arm waves. It's supposed to
Yeah,
bring back
the lucky cat.
the lucky cat. And we were
Yeah.
told that the cat has to face east always.
Yeah, and so that's actually not true. The lucky cat should face the door because and it's supposed to be something you do for businesses. And the lucky cat is supposed to tell people, come in, and to welcome them. I actually have a page that I devoted to the correct use of the lucky cat on my blog.
I'm going to look at
Yeah,
that.
but there's
Yeah.
this idea, when you do compass school feng shui, they ask for your birth date and then they tell you there's 4 directions that are positive for you and 4 directions that are negative for you, right? According to your birthday. So what I have seen happen with that is that people become terrified of the rooms in the home that are in a direction that's supposed to be negative for them. So I've worked with clients that tried to do compass school before they hired me. And so there was this woman, she hadn't been in her bedroom for 3 months. She had been sleeping in the sofa because the consultant told her that the direction her bedroom was in was death for her. And so she could not confront her bedroom. So, like every time she needed clothes, she would go buy clothes. It's because she was afraid to go in the bedroom to look for clothes.
Wow.
So that's how negative people can be impacted with feng shui, And sometimes I have had people who, like, upon learning that I do feng shui, got really angry at me, and I understand them because if that is the only kind of feng shui somebody has been exposed to, it is superstitious, it is fear based, it disempowers you. And I believe that even getting into that kind of feng shui can bring you bad luck because when you're constantly afraid, energy goes down. You know that,
Yeah.
right? As a
Yeah.
Reiki practitioner. And so I had this student, and this is so funny. She would sit only in one edge of her sofa, but she had a beautiful, large, comfortable sofa, and she would always be crunched up on the one side. Because when the consultant that she had hired before she met me, when they did the life areas on their floor plan, only that corner of the sofa was in a positive direction for her, and the rest of the sofa was in a negative direction for her. So that's the kinds of thing that give people the wrong impression of feng shui. I don't blame people if they have only heard of that kind of feng shui, if they say feng shui is garbage or whatever. But the way I do it, and my guarantee is that when people work with me, if they apply my system, if they go through the 9 steps, they will end up with a dream home. That is my warranty because it's so important for me, with my background in architecture. It's so important to me that the space look good because the home is your superpower. The home should be the place that nourishes you and that is your supportive partner. If you think about your home and you think about being drained of energy, you need to make changes. You probably have bad feng shui because with good feng shui, your home almost runs on autopilot.
And it's one thing to have everything laid out just so according to Feng Shui. But if you don't, if it doesn't appeal to you, if you walk in and it doesn't make you happy, you're proud of your space, and it's really counteracting
Yes,
each
I
other
mean, you
there.
have to love it. If you want to have a good life, a happy life, you have to start with the place where you live.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
if the place where you live is not nice, not good, it doesn't please you, how are you going to have a happy life? It's kind of
Yeah.
impossible.
Home really needs to be our sanctuary, where we feel safe
Yes.
and
Yeah.
calm.
And there's two factors in the home that are positive. One is the ah factor, and the other one is the wow factor. So the ah factor is what you need, for example, in the primary bedroom. When you go in the primary bedroom, you need to feel like, oh man, I can take a nap now, or I can sleep, or I can get romantic with my husband, I can read a book. And then the wow factor is what you want for the living room or the kitchen, that you want it to impress your guests, but also to impress yourself.
Yeah.
But with a lot of people, when they're trying to do feng shui by themselves, people come in and they don't go like, wow, or ah, they go, huh? What is actually
Absolutely.
trying to do? And because to them, they just see the same kinds of ornaments and decorations they have seen at the Chinese restaurant or at the nail shop, and with no context with the actual
Yeah.
decorating style of the person.
I can understand. That can be confusing, because like you said, you read a lot of contradictory stuff online. So with your 9-step program, can anybody do this or does it need you going in and kind of doing an assessment? How does that work?
When I first started doing feng shui, I wrote a book and then I wrote several more books. And at the time, I was thinking that people could do it themselves. So I even called my book Feng Shui Your Own Home with a nice steps to feng shui system. And so, for example, a person who's really athletic, they
Mm.
think it's really easy to play basketball,
Yeah.
right? Or they think it's really easy to play tennis. And I think that's what happened to me because I was always like a natural with spaces. So I thought like it should be really easy for people to understand. But over the years, I wish I hadn't called my book that because people really need the guidance.
Yeah.
That it's a serious thing, because you're messing with your luck, you're messing with your environment. But feng shui is not something that you can Google your way through or Pinterest your way through. My husband and I sometimes, we just love looking at these collections of nailed it, where people see like something on Pinterest and they try to reproduce it and they're nailed it, but it's actually not good, right? And so I think like to do that with a cake is fun. To do that with your living room, not fun, right? But for the people who are curious, right? There's the books, there's the YouTube channel, there's a blog. But people who really want to make a difference, they really need to do it with guidance.
So I wanted to ask then, I'm in Australia, you're in the States. If I wanted to start this journey, can you do a consult and can you help online or do you need to
Yes.
be in the physical space?
Absolutely, I can do it online because of two reasons. One is that I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I have been in so many homes
Yeah.
that I can know what the energy of the home is going to be like just by looking at photographs and videos. So that's the one reason I could do it online. The other reason is that with technology, with cell phones and laptops, it actually works better to do it long distance because if I was doing, if I was coming to your home, I'd be there for 2 hours and then I
Yeah.
would leave you a list of things to do. And then you wouldn't know you did them right. And so what I do is I do monthly consultations instead of hourly consultations. So the person works with me for the whole month and that is renewable. And so I create an online group that's just for them and for me and we just exchange information through the group. We'll do Zoom sessions and we just follow the steps. So first I create the group. They have to share with me the Google Maps link to their
Mhm.
home so I can look at the neighborhood. Then they need to share with me a floor plan. And then we just go through the steps. And I love doing it this way because there's no overwhelm because I only give my clients one task and they don't move on until they have completed that one task and send me photographs that show me that it was done correctly. So there's no overwhelm.
It's interesting because, we really need that. We really need things broken down into just simple, small steps. And you get, because you can want to do it. I could see myself being someone who'd be like, no, no, tell me all of it. I'll do it all today. But realistically, I would be exhausted and probably do half of it correctly. There's no intention there to do it the wrong way, but we just need to take everything slowly and in bite-sized steps and get it right.
Especially things that are important and that can
Yeah.
cost you money in the long term.
Yeah.
Say, for example, you need a rug. You need a rug for your living room. And the rug is a few $100s, right? If you make a mistake with that, and maybe you can return it, but it's still a hassle. And so you have to take your time. And in the
Mhm.
beginning, some people would tell me, no, give me 3 tasks at a time. Give me 4 tasks per week or something.
Yeah.
And when I obliged, it didn't go well because
Yeah.
people get confused, they get overwhelmed. And so one task at a time, supervised, so you can't make mistakes, and you always confirm that everything was done right before you move on. And so there's no wondering, there's no overwhelm, and it's a lot of fun. I just love to do
Yeah.
it because basically 5 days a week, anybody who's working with me, I'm gonna be responding to them. And so sometimes they'll text me from the furniture store, and they'll be like, "What about this lamp?"
Yeah.
And it feels to me that's one reason I love doing what I do. It feels to me like I have a friend, in all these different cities where I have clients, I have a friend. And I'm giving them my feedback on the lamp. I just love shopping. I love shopping for furniture so much. And once your house is set up, you're done with that. So I get to have the satisfaction of helping people shop, helping people choose appliances and furniture and accessories and decorations. It's so much fun. It's so much fun for them and for me.
And I would imagine it's even more exciting because you're building this relationship. Everyone's taste is different. And so to have this insight into helping these people develop their tastes, develop their luck, develop the way their house flows, to really improve on that, I can imagine that being very satisfying.
Yeah, and I think you just took the words off my mouth because I was going to say that about style. Some people think they have no style. It's just they haven't developed it. Right? And so one of the things I love to do is I love help people discover what they actually like. Because in the end, you want the result to be their dream home. Like a client was telling me, I liked my home before, but now every time I look around, I see something I love and I get this jolt of happiness. And so this is super important because if there's sources of irritation in your home, you're going to be irritable. If you're irritable, you're going to argue more. But if there's sources of love and beauty in your home, you're going to be calm. And when you're calm, you can think more clearly. Your healing speeds up, growth speeds up. So there's and I'm sure you know this, the two parts of the nervous system, the fight or flight, or which also includes freeze or fawn, which is the sympathetic part of the nervous system, and the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, which is rational thinking, growth, and healing. And the growth is essential to healing because you have to grow new cells. And when you are in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, the other part of the nervous system shuts down. So it's
Mm.
actually, and I don't know if listeners have had this experience, when you're worrying about something and you're trying to find a solution to it, you just keep going around and around and around like a hamster in a wheel, right? And it's not until you calm down that you can find a solution to your problems. You can never find a solution to your problems. Why worry? Because it just shuts down the thinking part. So it's so important to have a home that nurtures you and that makes you feel peaceful. One thing that I do with my clients as we start working first is I teach them a technique to process their fears. So it's not just clearing fears, because I've noticed over the years when people clear their fears, the fears come back and they just have to be clearing them constantly. So I have this process for people to, have this technique for people to process their fears so they don't come back in the same way. And so what people are reporting to me is that they're just calmer. They can
Mm.
just get out of the stress or anxiety cycles and they're just calmer. And then when you're calm, when you're centered in your own body, when you're calm, when you're not being played by fears, everything becomes easier.
Everything becomes easier, and it's just you're able to take on the bumps that come ahead much easier when you're not wound up and tense, and you can think, like you said, you can think more rationally about things when they come up in your life, and you can deal with things a lot easier.
Yeah. And my objective is not in the beginning. I teach my clients to do this so they know what peace is. Because some of my clients at the beginning, they don't know what it is to live a peaceful life. And as they work on their home, they start noticing when they start feeling like that as soon as they step into the home. They feel that peace as soon as they step into the home.
And what about anyone in a rental property? Can you apply the same techniques in a home that is not
Yes.
belonging to you?
And actually, some of my case histories, my most fabulous testimonials and case histories are from people who are renting.
Yeah.
And the way one of my clients put it, if I'm renting, even if I don't own it, it's still mine. It's still my
Yeah.
place, right? And so, of course, you do have to be careful that you don't end up paying a lot of money when you move out. For example, and there's some landlords that are going to charge you a certain money amount for every little hole they see on the walls, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And things like that. So we use things like decals. We use those 3M strips, things that don't damage walls and things. We're very careful about the things that we
Yeah.
do. And so sometimes, a person that is renting, I have a client that's been renting and she doesn't plan to move out because is a neighborhood she loves, is a house she loves. She
Yeah.
just plans on continuing to live there. And there's other cases when you start working on feng shui, and as we're about to complete the 9 steps, much better opportunity comes up, and it can be an opportunity to buy a home or to rent a place that is more convenient. I think, like me coming from Ecuador, most people in Ecuador they're not homeowners.
Mhm.
And so if I didn't do feng shui in a way that can be applied to people who rent, I would be leaving most people in the world outside of feng shui.
Yeah. And there's something because at times it can be hard to make a rental property feel your own. And I would imagine if you're going in and approaching it and getting ready to, you get ready to set up and you feel
Mhm.
what feels good where. And sometimes you might move things around a few times in the first few months that you live there. And
Yeah.
I would imagine taking this feng shui approach would just make it feel all that more your own personal space and not somebody else's that you're just kind of using for the short
Mhm.
term.
There has to be a sense of ownership even when you rent,
Mhm.
and some ownership pride. Because you may not own the apartment, but you still own the furniture, you still own the curtains, you still own the lamps. So it's still your place. And you have to beautify it and make sure that it has good energy and gives you good feedback.
Yeah.
So what we do is like the 9 steps that I was telling you about. The first 3 steps, they have to do with the way the home was built. That's nothing you have done. It's just the layout of the home, the way the floor plan was designed, the kind of construction it is, where the stairs are compared to the door if you have stairs, the locations of the windows or things like that. Then the next 3 steps, they have to do with the interior design. And the interior design basically is finishes and finishings. So interior design are the major decisions that you or somebody else has made about the home. For example, whether you have paint or wallpaper on the walls, what colors you have, the kind of floor you have, the kind of kitchen counters, the material of the kitchen cabinets. And then the next 3 steps, they have to do with the furnishings, which means furniture, accessories, and decoration. And this is the fascinating thing. Another reason I love what I do is that each of these steps comes with a transformation for the person. Your home is an expression of everything you believe to be true about life. And I'm not talking about faith or religious beliefs. I'm talking about what you believe about money, about wealth, about health, about marriage, about children. And so you are expressing all your beliefs in your home. If you consciously make very targeted changes in your home, you're going to change the way you think. You're going to change the way you feel. And when you feel and think better, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to take better actions. And that is where what leads you to success. So I see a lot of people they're into manifesting or manifestation and they're using affirmation, but then a lot of people stay with the thought or the emotion. This is what I want to see in my life. And they may do a vision board, they may work with affirmations. But when you put it in the home, when you put it in your three-dimensional space, that's what gets you there faster. So while the other things that you're doing, they're valid, but they're not as fast as Feng Shui.
Yeah. I imagine it's a beautiful journey of self-discovery as well in many cases.
It is. And sometimes I wish I'm thinking actually of a client in Canada because I save the pictures they send me because we do it all online, right? I save the pictures in the beginning. Then I compare them. I put them next to the after photos so they can see the contrast, so they can see the difference. And there was this gal in Canada. She told me when I put those pictures together for her, she had forgotten how unhappy she was before with her living room. But I wish I could have shared the before and after pictures of her because she looked so much happier. And it was visible. She was happy when we started, but she was so much happier after.
You almost need to start taking a photo of someone beforehand and then taking a photo after, showing them. Look at yourself. Look at you.
I think after this conversation, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have people submit a photo, submit a selfie of themselves so they can compare it later on. It's just such a fascinating journey. Would you like to hear what are the 9 transformations people, especially women, need to go through? So the first one is to drop excuses for strategy. So instead of making excuses for how your life is the way it is, make plans for how you want your life to be. So that's the first. That has to do with the floor plan of your home. Then the second thing is to drop drama for balance. Because I think many people, they're just kind of addicted to drama. They don't feel they're alive unless they're in the middle of some drama. To understand that you can be completely happy and a lot happier with a balanced life than with a life full of drama. And so that we do with the excesses and deficiencies, the things that are too much or too little. And so, for example, if a room is dark, we make it feel lighter. If the room is small, we make it feel larger. Then the third thing is exchange fatigue with vitality. And so I talk to so many people and they're like, the first thing I do when I first wake up, coffee. And at night, right after dinner, wine. Because they need the coffee to wake up and they need the wine to wind down. And so that means there's something off with your body. There are certain things in your home that are going to make you feel tired. And so there are homes that make you feel exhausted, and there are homes that make you feel vitalized. So you want to make sure you're vitalized. So those are the first 3. Those have to do with the way your building was built. And then there's the next 3 that have to do with interior design, the finishes and the finishings, right? And so we want them to tune into nature so that they have an instinctive, intuitive sense so they can be always at the right place and at the right time. And that has to do with your windows. And then we want people to argue less and get along better. And that has to do with colors. If your colors are clashing, your relationships are clashing. Then comes exchanging self-sabotage for self-nurturing, for self-support. Your mirrors, your family photos, and your art can be working against you by the type of things that you have chosen and by where you put them. For example, pictures of family in the primary bedroom, not good. Because if you have pictures of family members, that's too many people to get intimate. You feel like people are watching, but you also argue about family members in those cases. So the same photographs that would be fantastic, say in the dining room, are catastrophic in the primary bedroom. And so it's knowing what kinds of pictures to use and where to use them. And then mirrors. Some mirrors are bad feng shui. For example, mosaic mirrors that can be so beautiful. They're bad feng shui because they fragment the image. They give you an incorrect feedback of what you look like. Those are the 3 that have to do with interior design. And then come the 3 that have to do with furnishings, which are furniture, accessories, and decorations. So the number 7 is decluttering to find your passions. So not decluttering so you can have less things. You're basically making room for your passions. It's different. You tell a person, you need to get rid of everything that you don't use and love, and then you'll have a home with less things. The person's not going to be as motivated as if they're decluttering a junk room so they can have an art studio. Yeah, or so they can room for the piano, or so that they can have a place to practice guitar. But this has to do with time, because most people, when they say I don't have time for anything, they usually have too much clutter. And clutter, I see clutter not as a problem of too many things, but as a problem of lack of beauty. The more you add beauty to your home, the more organized it becomes. It kind of happens magically. So number 8 has to do with certain spots in the home. So in Feng Shui, we use the 9 life areas, and it's like a tic-tac-toe, where if your home is a square, you end up with 9 squares on the floor plan. If your home is a rectangle, you end up with 9 rectangles on the floor plan. And each of those is assigned a life area. For example, if you're standing at your front door looking towards the inside, the right corner to the back, that's the relationship corner. And the left corner to the back, that's the wealth corner. If you have a bathroom in the wealth corner, you are going to feel like money is going down the toilet, like your wealth is going down the toilet. If you are lacking a relationship corner, if that's on the outside of your home, you're going to feel like it's hard to find a partner, or like you and your partner don't connect. So it's important to know, what these spots are, and it's important to know what to put there. So for example, if you had an image like a painting of 3 beautiful apples, and you put that in the health midpoint of your home, that's good. But if you put an image of 3 apples in the relationship corner of your home, that's bad, because 3 means love triangle. And so you don't want 3 in a place that should have 2. It's so fascinating. So we want people, especially women, to set goals that are healthy for every one of the 9 life areas. And so most people, like if you ask them what their goals are for the next year, they're going to tell you that it's going to be related to money or wealth. It's going to be related to relationships and health. And that's 3 out of 9, right? And most people don't say, you know what, I want to really get to know myself next year. They don't say, I really want to get more in touch with my spirituality. Very few people tell you that. Very few people said that as a goal. Most people is like money, love, and wealth. And so we teach our clients to use their home as a 3-dimensional vision board that is full of beauty, with the right symbols in the right places. And then comes number 9. So number 9 is about being empowered. And I know a lot of women, like, they don't react well with the word power, but the opposite of being empowered is being a victim. Nobody wants to be a victim, and or being meek, right? And not occupying your own space, not taking your place in the world. That's not good. Nobody benefits from you not taking your place in the world. And so some of the ways people victimize themselves is with the wrong choices of furniture. For example, I can go in a home and they have a coffee table that is made of glass and metal. It has really sharp corners. And I ask them, has anybody ever hit their knees or their shins on this table? And it's like, everybody has at some time or another hurt. And sometimes it's gory story of somebody, how someone broke the skin or something. And so if you only have furniture that is functional, that works well, that the drawers open and close smoothly, that is not going to topple over, that is never going to hurt you, you start feeling like the world is safer. And when you feel the world is safer, you take more risks. When you feel the world is dangerous, like you have sharp corners, you take less risks.
I mean, everything you're saying to me, as you're saying it, it makes a lot of sense, but it's not necessarily something that you just think about, or even, you say all these things and they make sense to me, but I have no idea now how to go and apply them into my own home. So I think
Yeah.
it's really great that you've created this 9-step program, and not only the program itself, but how you break it down into easy to follow guided steps, and just knowing that you're creating this space that's going to improve your home and your family, and how you take the stress out of the whole program, that you have fun with it, but the client must also really, like you said, they glow after, they look happier.
Yeah,
So
and they're happy with their choices. When they're done, people start asking them for help. It's
yeah.
like, you have, your home is so beautiful. Can you help me with mine? And I also do train people to become Feng Shui consultants. So some people take the course just because they want to apply it to their home. Other people take the course because they want to become Feng Shui consultants. Even if you just leave this conversation with the idea that my home is important, my home matters, that is the first step. So maybe the next step is you inform yourself a little bit. Go to my website, spacearrangement.com, takes you to ninesteps2fengshui.com. Like if you look at the menu, there's always going to be low cost and free resources. So if you click on that, there's some freebies that I offer. And I usually have some event going on, and maybe like it's a free class, or maybe it's an online group. I'm always having something exciting going on that you can join. So if you come into my circle, and join my list or join one of my Facebook groups, start following me. My business, and the name of my business is Feng Shui for Us. And so my handle on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube is all at Feng Shui for Us. So you can find me. So start a relationship with me. And don't try to do it yourself. Replace the DIY, do it yourself, with DIG, dig. Do it with guidance because it matters. It is really complex. And so you have to do it with guidance so that the end results are good at the first try. So a lot of people come to me that tried to use Compass School before or went with other schools, so there's other schools of Feng Shui, obviously, that are really good, but none of them has the guarantee of the dream home. And a lot of people come to me and they tell me, even people who study to be consultants with other schools, they tell me, I learned a lot and it was really beautiful, but I did not know how to apply it. And so I'm all about applying. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think by not doing the DIY in this case, you're probably going to save yourself a lot of stress and time
Yeah.
and money because it sounds like you just have to have someone like yourself come in and kind of redo it all with you anyway because
Yeah.
it sounds very stressful. Sometimes it's definitely better to leave it to the professionals. And
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining me today. I found this really interesting, and I'm definitely going to look at some of the resources that you've mentioned. And for anyone who is listening, there were a lot of resources there. And thank you, Moni, for providing us with such a comprehensive resource list. We will link all of the resources in the show notes of the episode. And so go on, have a look. As she said, get in touch with Moni, start the relationship, ask some questions, and just really think about how you want to start this journey. So, again, thank you, Moni, so much for your time today.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's been wonderful having you. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me on the Holistic Health Show and trusting me to guide you towards proactive healthcare. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform and get ready to embark on an incredible journey toward holistic wellness. Until next time, be well and stay holistic.